And what's the definition of tone of voice? I've spent years giving workshops on the voice and asking people, what's tone of voice to you? To me, tone of voice has meant nothing for many years. It's a very, very vague notion. If you ask 10 different voice coaches and teachers, you will get 10 different definitions. And people will typically say, oh, it's your intonation. So pitch. So it's how loud you're speaking. So intensity, basically. Or your rhythm. Or the emotions that come across when you speak. And all of that has a different name. Why is this called tone of voice? Is there such thing as tone in the voice? And one day, while I was giving a workshop and addressing exactly this, it dawned on me. I suddenly realized that it does make sense to speak about a tone of voice, because tone, the notion of tone, is very much relevant to the voice. There's a tone in the voice. Voice generation requires the activity of lots of membranes that have to have the right tension, ligaments, tendons, muscles, mucosal membranes. They need to be supplied with the correct tone in order to generate the correct tension. Vagal tone, meaning autonomic nervous system tone, is fundamental for voice production because the larynx and the vocal folds are supplied by that particular part of the nervous system. So tone, talking brainstem regulated tone, is absolutely crucial when it comes to the voice. And when it comes to the inner body language of the voice itself, because the voice has an inner body language, which we call timbre. Timbre is the texture of a voice, and it is the unconscious body language of your inner organs and nervous system. In hearing a voice, you're basically hearing a manifestation of one person's inner organs and the way they are toned. But usually people receive this information on a subconscious level, the same way people receive a lot of information from someone when shaking hands. When you listen into a voice, you're constantly shaking hands with the nervous system and the inner organs of the person who's speaking for perhaps 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You're collecting an enormous amount of non-verbal, non-cognitive, non-emotional information that enters your system through your mirror neurons. And why is this important? Well, is the cognitive level not enough? Is the emotional level not enough? Well, those are not the levels where you appear to be making your very important decisions on the people you meet. The upper levels of consciousness seem to take stock of decisions once they have been made by much deeper layers, deep down inside, where you're not conscious of what you're doing. By leveraging the real tone of voice, you're basically addressing people on a much, much deeper level. Degrading sound quality, meaning degrading timbre, again, where the inner intrinsic body language of the inner body is found and comes across to your audience. By degrading the timbre of speakers, this particular team of researchers could measure fight and flight reactions on a subconscious level. And they even found that their subjects did not realize on a cognitive level. So there's a split. The cognitive level doesn't realize, but deep down inside, there is a fight or flight reaction, which can be measured, of course, with medical grade devices. Sound quality affects communication regardless of external body language. The perceived credibility of a speaker is heavily affected by the way they sound, but not intonation, not accent, not filler words, for instance, not extra sounds, but pure sound quality. A pool of researchers was asked to assess the perceived credibility of other researchers, objective assessment, and the same was done in a court, in a tribunal. So an audience of people who are usually expected to provide a very objective and cognitive assessment of cognitive contents, And by degrading the timbre of these speakers, researchers found that listeners had a completely different perception of how credible the speaker was and how credible and reliable their contents were. And we're talking the same video clip with different sound qualities. So the only variable that has changed is the quality of their voice. Again, not their accent, not their prosody, not how loud they are, not their choice of words, not their body language. It's the same video, same guy speaking.